welcome back to Real Talk with the Lugos. My name is Stephanie.
And I'm Bryce.
And we are realtors with My Home Group Real Estate, located right here in the greater Phoenix area. And in this video, we're going to be talking about what it looks like to sell your home during the holidays. This freaks out a lot of our clients, and I know there might be some apprehension around taking on a task like that during the busiest time of year. So we're going to talk about what that might mean for you in the coming months. So, Bryce, I think that we can safely assume that when it comes to selling a home, which is typically our clients' largest investment, they want the most streamlined, low-stress approach to netting as much money as possible during their sale. Would you agree?
Well, of course.
So how are the seasonal changes that affect our real estate market going into the holidays kind of factoring in with that? Because I think that that's an important place to start in determining whether or not selling during this time of year is right.
Well, if you're considering selling your home right now, you have to understand that there's a 30% drop in inventory. So you could look at it from the perspective less competition.
Yeah.
In a market where there's already considerably low inventory. So that's a benefit to you. But at the same time, and I think you'll cover this later, is with buyers, you also have a smaller amount of buyers out there in the market. So if you are preparing for listing in this during the holiday seasons, you just have to take into these factors and see how you can present your home in a way that I guess is better than others.
Yeah, so I think that makes a lot of sense to me. And if we're talking about the market in general, from our last video, if you did not catch that, we did an October Metro Phoenix market real estate market updates, rather. And we spoke about a few of these numbers, but these are really important when deciding to go through with this big task, right? Because it is all about how can you stand out from your competition. And so much of the talk this year was the low inventory, which resulted in little to no competition for a lot of sellers, which is why we saw giant bidding wars, tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking price with sales. But we're definitely seeing the market cool from that frenzy, crazy state earlier this year into what we typically see is that more seasonal downshift in the market. And just some numbers that I thought was interesting to note that I have here from the Cromford report, we have seen that the median days on market prior to contract acceptance has more than doubled from 5 days to 11. And what that means is on average, homes were accepting a contract within 5 days. And you and I know that doesn't mean it's sitting on the market for 5 days. That means they are taking 5 days to sift through 30 offers.
Right, yeah. And now the 11 days is probably a little bit more accurate to the receiving of offers later on after listing.
Yeah, a week maybe.
Yeah. And probably not getting as many offers and probably not going for as much over list price on the ones that are getting above list. I think you had a stat on that, didn't you?
I did. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
The stat that I had was the sales over asking price have decreased from 60% to 47%. So over half the sales that were happening earlier this year we're going way over asking price in some cases.
And I personally, I think it was actually even higher than that.
It feels like it was.
Because I know some agents would adjust the list price to match the new contract price because they're trying to fool, the market and appraisers. And I don't know why, but I know that was happening. So I think that number is even was greater. So the drop to 47% is probably a bigger gap than what you just even said.
Yeah, that's a really important note to make, that even these numbers, again, as we say, they're lagging numbers. So this is looking in the past, but for you and I, our perspective being the boots on the ground, we know that there's always a little more to the story than that.
And just so tying it into the seasonal effect that we're having right now, I mean, it, like you said, the markets are, and we talked about this in that last video, market's cooling a little bit. We're seeing it. And then the seasonal cool, which is a big part of it. So to prepare your home, just going back on that, you just have to, if you're going to be selling or thinking about selling, you just have to prepare your home in a way that it, I guess, outshines the competition.
Yeah.
And we've seen that actually recently in a way where I think I just showed a house. I sent it to you. I had you comp it out, and the list price was overpriced, right? At list price. We even submitted an offer, had to come in low because just couldn't justify where the price was.
And we're not in the business of having our clients overpay for no reason.
Yeah, we don't, you know, unless you really want it, you got the cash to pay, you know, cool. And somebody did. Because in this instance, you know, somebody paid, I think it was $40K over list price, which was about like 8% over list price and maybe 12% over market value in that community. Like, it's the highest sale in that community in just forever. You know, but it was cash. And you know, we were talking about this on our walk yesterday, is like the agent did such a good job with their sellers advising them on how to prepare the home. So I guess
beautiful.
Trying to tie that whole thing in is like going into a market, you know, like a seasonal market like we are. If you're wanting to beat out the competition with fewer buyers, you have to stand out.
Yeah.
It's a long story to like put that point through, is like you just have to have the home presented well. You know, some agents would say just, you know, you can take a picture, any pictures of these homes, and they'll just sell. Don't have to do anything.
Yeah. I think this is a great litmus test. If you have an agent come over to your home and they whip out one of these and start talking about listing photos, you got a problem.
And I mean, you can get great photos with your phone. You really, really can. But like, it's just like, there's so much more to it than just taking a couple photos. But again, this home was presented so well that buyers the final buyer at least didn't even seem to care that it was so high priced, that they were willing to move forward at the price and paid cash, you know, so there's no contingency on appraisal or anything like that. So for them, it was...
And they're just going to bet on the market continuing to go up over the next several years.
It should, you know, we're still seeing that, and preparing a home, having it just... Not even, it doesn't have to be staged, you know, but like decluttered, cleaned really well.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Okay, let's get like really specific on what that looks like, because I did have a couple of tips. And the first one was to be ready, and like you're saying, to prepare the home. Going into the holidays, that can be kind of hard because you do want to feel the season. You want to be festive. You want to put your decorations up. I have some really specific ideas on what this needs to look like if you're selling your home.
Okay.
And if you're asking me, I think like maybe some tasteful seasonal decor, but other than that, like holiday decorations, going crazy with anything serious on the porch, or even, I don't know, what do you think? Like, how crazy can you get?
I'm okay with holiday decor, but I want it minimal. But I want all homes to be minimally, you know.
Yeah.
Just clutter is clutter. Whether it's, to me, especially when I'm showing homes and like you're seeing tons of stuff everywhere, it's like clutter is clutter. I don't want to see a lot of clutter. But, you know, seasonal holiday seasons are fun, you know, but keeping it minimal, keeping it Pinteresty or whatever is a way to go. But
keeping it tasteful.
Yeah.
I just remember last year, specifically in like December of 2020 and then January of 2021, I saw a home that was listed during the holidays, and I think they had taken photos literally and listed it in coming soon in November. And you could see the Christmas tree in one of the photos. And the home had stayed on the market because they missed the mark with the pricing. Mm-hmm. And by January, the home was still listed. February, the home was still listed, which is not the norm. But you could still see the Christmas tree in the photo, and it dates the listing to me.
It does. And I mean, that's where you need to come in and reshoot the house, you know?
Yeah.
And if you're sitting on the market 60, 90 days or whatever, you might be trying to figure out what else you can do to sell the home at that point by refreshing it, new photos, you know, adjust the furniture, move things around, re-clean the house, declutter some more. But personally, it's like family photos. I'm okay with those.
Yeah.
In holiday decorations, if it's minimal, I'm okay with them. You know, I don't want to be walking up to your front door right before Halloween and get scared, you know, because something pops out or whatever, you know, like that's not going to be great for my buyers. Keep it minimal. Sure. I'd say that's just my thought.
Yeah. And
people celebrate Christmas, people celebrate Thanksgiving. There's going to be, you know, random little things, but I don't want to walk through a spider web, you know, real one or artificial, trying to get into your house. So
right.
Clean it up and
I think just following the typical rule of thumb, decluttered, have it super deep cleaned.
I
make those easy repairs if you can. Like if you see an obvious defect in the home, correct it.
Yeah,
with licensed professionals if needed.
No, for sure. Like I would definitely, I think small things, get those things taken care of. Little holes in the wall. If you got photos up, that's great. There's going to be holes behind there, but don't worry about that because leave the photos up. But I think cleaning a house is so important, and not just you sweeping it. Like, unless you do that as like your daily thing, or you're already super clean, like bring someone in, spend $200-300 to have your house clean if you can. You know, I mean, you want these homes need to look really good when you're going up against, you know, the competition of, especially in a seasonal.
So I guess that brings us to my next tip, was to be timely, right? And you know, if you're on the fence about this, for when it comes to us, for example, let's just speak for ourselves. When we're working with sellers, depending on how close the home is being ready, like you and I need a week. We need a week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on the availability of our professional photographer, because we do pay for the marketing. We get that done. We get beautiful professional photos done. Like, we coordinate all of that. So we do need a little bit of time.
We'd like a week.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we could potentially do it even sooner than that. But that's still not a long time to wait to get your home on the market, right? So I do think that if this is on the horizon, like, doing it sooner rather than later is going to behoove you. I mean, we have accepted offers on listings that we listed basically on Christmas Eve. Okay, we've done that in the past.
Well, we listed just a couple days before, and you know, you've got serious buyers out there at that point.
So it's not like you can't list during specific times when they're big holidays where like banks are closed and stuff.
I wouldn't advise it necessarily. I'd go
like,
you know, 2 weeks out or 2 weeks prior or something like that, and then you have to account for things like title companies, being title company lenders, inspectors. You know, they might not have the availability during those times to inspect the home or get you docked. So you do need to be thinking about timing the market.
Yeah.
And if you're a buyer in that sense, just real quick, if you are buying and you're going under contract the week of a big holiday, you need to consider your inspection period and stuff like that, because you know, you're not going to be inspecting the house on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know, but that's one of your days within that inspection period, so you just need to take those, you know, into account.
Yeah, that's a really
random thought.
No, I mean, I think it matters because it matters from the seller's perspective too, that you might see this on offers that are written on your home. Like your buyers might be coming to you wanting a longer close of escrow, and it's understandable, but when you understand it from that context, it makes it easier to accept at that point, I think. So the third tip I had was to be creative on where to go, right? So if you can capitalize on the lowest inventory conditions of the year, which is like December, if you can capitalize on that and you hit your timing perfectly to where you get a serious buyer before the end of the year, when inventory has hit its lowest bottom, then maybe it makes sense to sell sooner than you were thinking and rent somewhere for a couple of months or even a couple of weeks while you wait to find your next place.
I mean, people are still getting lease backs, so you can do a post possession or something like that and get a lease back. You know, that's
a creative solution.
I'm not a fan of them, truly. You know, there's a lot of liability if I had to.
But we've done that for several of our clients this
when
year.
We've had to. Yeah, I mean, if there's other options like an Airbnb or something like that, or friend, family, whatever,
which plenty of our clients have done as well.
Yeah, then you can do that. But there's ways to be creative during the holidays where if you need somewhere to stay, there's some options.
Yeah, I love the idea of like if somebody's selling in the thick of the holidays, like literally straddling Christmas and New Year's, you know, like go on a 2-week vacation or something. Get out of town so that you can celebrate the holidays and, you know, with your family, or do whatever you need to do during that time without having to worry about like foot traffic coming through your home and the inspectors and the appraisal and all of that other stuff. In my mind, that's a very romantic way to do it. I don't know that that's feasible for everybody or even that they would be interested in that, but that's something that I've always kind of had in the back of my mind for something that I might want to do if we were selling during that time. So I think those are some pretty good tips if you are on the fence of like, oh, should I sell now? Should I wait till the beginning of the year? And you know what? If you do want to wait till the beginning of the year, that's cool too, because the first quarter and the second quarter here in the Phoenix area at least tend to be the most active buying season as well. So even if you miss the mark during the holidays, it doesn't mean that you missed out on a huge opportunity. There's still going to be time going into the new year, but I think that we'll have some more videos coming out on what that's going to look like as we get a bit closer and have some more data to understand what the market is going to look like at that time. So if you have not yet, be sure to hit subscribe to this channel and hit that little bell notification icon to be notified the next time we're dropping new videos just like this. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.